Hi, welcome to the 1930s Ag Museum. Welcome back, I should say. I'm Mike McCabe. I'm here with Don McKinley, and this is his 1930s Agricultural Museum that we're in. Don, I'm sure you didn't wake up one day and say, I'm going to make a 1930s Ag Museum and get started.
No.
Tell me, what was the genesis behind this museum? How did it get started?
I don't know where to start telling you. When I retired, I kept telling my...
You were an educator, you're a retired educator.
Yes. I kept telling my wife I want a B John Deere tractor.
This one here?
This one here.
Okay.
And she kept saying, why? Why in the world would you do that? And I said, I spent too many hours on this as a kid. I want to go back to my youth and I want to play with it. It's something to play with. Well, one thing led to another, and my son-in-law helped me find this particular tractor up in Iowa somewhere. He brought it home and we fooled with it. I took it out in the hay field and we fooled around with it. And we decided one year to take it to the Old Thrashers reunion at Mount Pleasant, Iowa. And they would accept any tractor on the grounds that were pre-1939. It had to be 1939 or older before they'd let you on the ground up there. So we dressed it all up and kind of cleaned it up and took it up there, and I set it in a row. Perhaps there were 700 to 800 1939 tractors sitting there, just row after row of them. And a kid and a father came down the row, and I just happened to see and hear this kid look up at Dad, and he said, "Yeah, Dad, but what were these used for?" I thought it was a pretty intelligent question for a little guy. Dad looked down at him and said, "They farmed with them, period. That's all." And I thought, that's not enough. That kid's wanting to know some little more than what did they do with them, and they farmed with them. He wants to know more about it. So I came home and I asked my then 50-year-old daughter. I said, "Kathy, what's a grain binder?" And she hemmed and hawed, and finally she said, "Did it have something to do with the farm?" And I about fainted. In one generation, I worked on a grain binder. I worked around it, swore at it, and everything else. And my daughter didn't know for sure what it was. And I said, "That's it. That's it. That's where this museum's going to start." And so, since we had the 30s tractor, I wanted to surround this little guy with everything that it could have pulled or powered, made by John Deere in that decade of the 30s or before. Not a thing in this museum is 1940 or older, or newer. So that's where it started. It started in Mount Pleasant, Iowa, with a kid asking Dad, what were pre-1939 tractors used for? So we came home and got busy.
It's amazing what triggers a life mission, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And it's been great fun digging this stuff up and preserving it. The whole philosophy of the museum, preservation and education. I want this guy riding around in his GPS guided 300, 400 horsepower tractor with his arms folded, and that tracking wherever he has programmed it to track, to know that it wasn't always that way. The 1930s was a different era. Come in here and look and see what it was like.
See the revolution.
See the revolution.
Come see the revolution.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you. And thank you for joining us at the 1930s Ag Museum on the 1930s Ag channel.